All right, Jamers. Jamers quarterback is Drew Brees. I have Drew Brees ranked third. I think a lot of people will probably disagree with that, but that's where I rank him. Running back, his starting running back core is going to be Lacy, who I have ranked number one, the number one running back. Carlos Hyde and Alfred Blue. I have him ranked ninth, but it's a tough ranking. So here's my justification for that. Lacy's number one. I love Lacy this year. But Alfred Blue, at the time of the draft, we didn't really know what to expect. We didn't know what's going to happen with Foster. And Alfred Blue himself is a pretty pedestrian running back. So that brought that ranking down quite a bit. And then Carlos Hyde. I'll just get right into it. Carlos Hyde is my least favorite player in the entire draft. Jimmy, you weren't actually at the draft, so I talked about this after. I don't remember who I was talking to. But I don't like Hyde at all. Hyde plays in the NFC West. The NFC West has Seattle. He has to face Seattle twice. They have the Rams. He has to face the Rams twice. They have the Cardinals. He has to face the Cardinals twice, let alone the rest of his schedule, which I don't know. But that's 6 games in a season against top 5 rushing defenses. And San Francisco is the worst team in that division. I think San Francisco is going to be the worst team, top 3 of the worst teams in all of football this year. And they're going to be behind a lot. They lost like 5 players on defense. Their defense is going to be terrible. So what does that tell you? It tells you that other teams are going to score on them, and they're going to have to pass. So number one, you're going to be facing tough defenses. Number two, those teams are going to score on San Francisco. So the teams they face, they're going to be they're going to have to pass the ball. And number three, he's going to be facing 8 guys in the box on every single play. And he's not even proven. I mean, he was a rookie last year. He didn't really do much last year. He was okay, but it's not like he just popped and like, oh gosh, this guy's going to be the second coming of Adrian Peterson. It wasn't like that at all. So we don't know what to expect from him. So he could just be an average guy. Number 4, he's got Reggie Bush there, and what is he going to do? He's going to be in on 3rd down, and so that relegates Carlos Hyde to a 2-down back. Reggie Bush is going to catch all those passes, even though Hyde can do it. That's why they brought Bush in specifically for that reason. So those are my 4 reasons why I don't like Carlos Hyde at all. He's my least favorite. He's my least favorite player in all of fantasy football. Now, to get him in the 4th round, which is where you got him, that's not where I would say. But if he was in like the 7th round, yeah, give me Carlos Hyde. But for the 4th round, I just don't like him. So that's just me. I know other people are different. So. Anyway, so receivers, I have him ranked 4th. You got Calvin Johnson, he's been my guy, for like 6 years now, and then Brandon Marshall, and then he's got Terrence Williams and Larry Fitzgerald to back them up. So I have that ranked 4th because I think Calvin is going to go ballistic this year. He is one of the guys I considered. I took Julio Jones and Des Bryant instead. Only because Calvin burned me last year with his injuries, and when I grade, I don't really predict injuries. That's just not fair to do. So I'm assuming he's going to have a healthy year. If he does, he's 1,500 yards with 12 touchdowns, which is, he's back to being his normal self. So I love Calvin. And then tight end, he has Greg Olsen. I have him ranked as the 3rd best tight end. I have him over Travis Kelce. So just because they don't have anyone else to pass to, and Olsen is going to be their number 1 receiver, and that's worth something. So this is a damn good team. I have his starters ranked as an A. So let's go through his starters. Drew Brees, Eddie Lacy, Carlos Hyde, Alfred Blue, is that right? I can't remember his first name. I think it's Alfred. Calvin Johnson, Brandon Marshall, and Greg Olsen. So that's pretty solid, especially with Drew Brees. I think people, since he lost Jimmy Graham, people think that Brees is going to have this big, this big step back in production, and I don't think he is. I think he's still going to throw for 4,700 yards. He's still going to throw for 30 touchdowns, and he's going to be a good quarterback, along with the number 1 running back. If you get something out, if you get 1,000 yards and 10 out of Hyde, consider. I don't want to say lucky because it's probably what you're expecting, but you just be happy with that because I think that's going to be his ceiling. And if he reaches a ceiling, which most players don't do, that's great. So I feel like his best pick in the third round was Drew Brees, the third best fantasy quarterback. Yeah, I think he is going to take a bit of a step back, but not the step that most people think. Worst pick, obviously, I think is Carlos Hyde. Even though in the fourth round, because I am aware of the other guys that went around him, guys like Jonathan Stewart, Andre Ellington, those types of players. Hyde, when you just kind of sit and think about it, it doesn't seem that bad. But really, if you study it, I just think it's, I don't think he's going to return fourth round value. So when you're looking at the draft, that's what you're looking at, a return on your value, or return on your investment for that fourth round pick. And I don't see it. So, obviously I could be wrong. I have his full team as a B. So when I talk about your full team, I'm talking about your bench. Not impressed with the bench at all. But he's got Gray from New England. I think that's Blunt's job. I don't think that Gray is really going to do a whole lot this year. He may go off for a game or two if Blunt gets in hot water. And if Blunt gets in hot water, then it's a committee. You never know what's going on in New England. New England running backs, I like to stay away from. Reggie Bush, I expect basically nothing from. Some third down, unless Carlos Hyde gets hurt. But some third down, third and long situations, he gets some pass receptions, but that's about it. Now, Terrence Williams, I think, is interesting, and I do like him. Des Bryant, he garners so much attention that they're going to double team him on every play. You've got Tony Romo passing the ball. You've got a suspect run game. I think they are gonna pass more if they don't bring another running back in there. And Williams, it's his third year in the league, and he could really go off this year. I like him quite a bit, as far as upside goes. So, and then Larry Fitzgerald. I think Larry Fitzgerald is kind of like David Wright on Jamer's team. He's donezo. So, that's just. I just don't expect much from Fitzgerald at all. Now, I do know that Fitzgerald had good numbers before Palmer got hurt last year, but I'm not expecting a return to that. The one that I do expect to bounce back is Michael Floyd. So, and then he's also got a little upside in Tyler Eifert. I think Eifert could be a big tight end this year. Eifert could, he may be able to start Eifert, to be honest. I'm not sure, with Alfred Blue, if I'm not sure what you had there. I'm not a big fan of Alfred Blue. Is his first name Alfred? I just can't remember. But anyway, Blue in Houston. So Eifert, I think he could be a big upside guy, and he really could return some value. I think. Let me look. Eifert went in the, was it like the last round? In the 12th round. So that's pretty good value for a 12th round pick because they got Jermaine Gresham out of there. And Eifert is healthy, so I like that pick. I think Jamer's strength is his balance. He's got really good balance in his starting lineup. Brees, Lacy, you know what I think about Hyde, Calvin Johnson, Greg Olsen. Those are all several of those guys are at the tops of their position or top 5 guys. So, that's great, and there's a lot of balance there. I think his weakness is his upside. He just doesn't have a lot of upside. I think you know what you have in Joe Flacco. You know what you have in Reggie Bush. You know what you have in Brandon Marshall. Those guys aren't going to suddenly have career years and be this phenom that someone like Jeremy Hill did last year. Those guys just aren't there. So, a little weak on upside. But having said that, I have his record, a record of 10-3. I have him finishing second in the league, so a 2 seed in the playoffs, and overall a solid A for his draft. So I do think that's an excellent draft, and well done, Jamers. So on deck we have Steve Sr., and I'm going to take a break for the night.